Good evening. This is the Berlin Zoning Board of Appeals for September 24th, 2024. We've got 4 members on the panel tonight. My name is Tony Francolangia. We've got Mike Simonetta, Leonard Tubbs, and Ryan Zellick, and we've got one more or 2 more. Corey. I think he's there. Corey Whiteside. So we've got a total panel of 5, which is what we usually need. What we're going to do is hear the hearings in the order that they were received, and basically what we'll do is we'll hear each individual hearing. You'll be asked to come up, state your case, and there'll be a question and answer session during the new business portion of the meeting, and a bit of dialogue basically to get information on your request, and we'll try to get some answers as to what the request entails, and also get any other information that may be relevant to the request. Once we've gotten that information and we've gone through and closed the hearing on that particular agenda item, whatever one yours is, we will listen to all the agenda items at the beginning and then close each one of them. And then we'll go into old business and vote on the agenda items. That what the important thing is that during the new business portion of the meeting, when the hearing is going on, all information that has to be disseminated then. When we vote on the issues, we can't introduce any new information. So please bear in mind, once we go through and close the hearing, we can't reopen it to get more additional information. So it's just a caveat so that you know that we need to, just vote on the items at hand, and we cannot introduce any new information. With that being said, is there any questions? If not, I'll go into the first application. It's ZBA 2024-12, 30 Robbins Road, map 14-2, block 69, lot 8. Alexia S. Vento is requesting a variance for a side yard setback of 2 feet for a 1-car garage where 5 feet is required for detached accessory structures 12 feet or more away from a principal structure per Berlin zoning regulation 5810 in the R15 zone. And I'm told that this application is going to be postponed till the October meeting. Is that correct?
Yep. The applicant acts to extend.
Okay. Do we need a motion to extend that to the October meeting?
You can do it if you want, but I think they have the allowance to add some extra time. They can open it.
Okay, well, I'll just make a motion just to be clear, is to extend this application to the October meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, let's move to the October meeting. Thanks, Corey.
Yeah.
Second application here is ZBA 2024-14, 164 New Britain Road, map 3-3, block 24A, lot 38. Pranav Kumar Patel and Johnny Putra. Did I do that right? 164 LLC is requesting a sales of alcoholic beverages location approval per Berlin zoning regulation 11B for a grocery beer liquor permit for a Friendly Mart at property owned by Pankaj Kumar in the CCD1 zone. Speaking for the application.
Peter Burdun from the law firm of Burdun, Young and Margolis, 350 Orange Street, 2nd floor, New Haven, Connecticut.
Excuse me.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As I indicated to you, my name is Peter Burdun. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Burdun, Young and Margolis, located in New Haven, Connecticut. And I am here to represent the applicant on its application for certificate of location approval for a grocery beer license at 164 New Britain Avenue. As you are aware, the property is located in a CCD1 zone. It consists of just slightly under a half an acre, coming in at about 0.4 acres. It is an improved with a 3,260 square foot single story building with associated parking. It's generally in a commercial neighborhood. It's had a long history, actually 50 years today of being a grocery store and having been licensed as a grocery beer license. Its current hours of operation are 7 a.m. To 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday. And obviously, if we are successful and do obtain approval for the certificate of location here, and then also obtain our liquor license from the state of Connecticut, the grocery, the beer component or the beer sales would be less than those hours because those hours extend beyond what's permitted by the state. There is currently one employee and the owner who works at the premises, and I do have just a couple of exhibits that I would like to enter, and I do believe is the staff report part of the record. Yeah, yeah, great. So the first item that I would like to enter, it's just a copy of your GIS mapping in the area, and I'll pass these up to the clerk. As you can see from the GIS, just wait for it to pass it around. As you can see from the GIS mapping, is an entrance in the parking lot off of New Britain Avenue. There is an entrance exit onto Newton Street, which is controlled by a stop sign. So there's plenty of traffic control and traffic flow. There's a Citgo station and convenience store just to the north, and I believe it's a Burger King just beyond that. A motorcycle resale store across the way, and some other commercial uses across the way as well. In addition, I'm going to pass up a copy of Google Earth map from the area. The purpose for submitting the Google map or Google image map is to show some of the other businesses that are in the area as well. And lastly, just to conclude my opening comments, at least, as you'll note from the staff comments, there's been a food store there since 1972, and the initial beer license was approved there in 1974, some 50 years ago. And there have been a number of other operators of food stores in the interim. And I'm happy to take any questions.
There gonna be some new coolers for the beer?
Yeah, they'll either have to be new coolers or they'll have to make space in the existing. And obviously, in order for them to obtain their grocery beer license, they'll have to meet all the state requirements as well.
You said this had a beer permit?
Yes, in the past.
You know why it was, what happened to it?
So when my client purchased business, they did not have the opportunity at that point in time to apply for a beer license. Just getting around to it at this particular point in time. And so because of that, there was a lapse. We need to obtain a new certificate of location approval. Had that transition been a little bit more seamless, we wouldn't be here, I don't think. He's owned it since January? February.
You have any questions?
I think.
Yeah, Commissioner Whiteside, are the the signage is currently at issue with the Planning and Zoning Commission, or Paulie, is this subject to is this, I guess, subject to the request for any variances there today?
No, there were no requests for variances. We just had some issues in the past, and I've discussed with the operators of the business for some of the excessive signage that they had out there.
That's pretty excessive on the building now, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's limitations to how much you can have even with window signage. And then some of the portable signs that they'll have around the property.
I just became aware of it when I saw the staff report. I wasn't aware of the signage issue before, but certainly whatever's required to bring it into compliance. I can work with your zoning enforcement officer and we'll work to bring it into compliance.
Then just one correction. I believe the name is Friendly Mart, not Happy Mart.
That's correct.
Used to be Happy Mark.
Used to be Happy
Used to
Mart.
be.
Oh,
It's now,
about that.
yeah, correct. It's now Friendly Mart.
So signage is that's under control.
Yeah, so we'll work that out with them, but that's beyond the application here. There's no variance being proposed or anything.
The only thing we're seeking for is for
pretty
your,
rough business.
well, that it's an appropriate.
14, 18, 19, 20, 22.
Tony, if you wouldn't mind turning on your microphone, I think.
My mic's on.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I guess you weren't coming through on my end.
I don't think yours is on.
Is it on?
Now it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, no,
Okay.
as soon as you talk down on it, it sounded good.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, great. No other questions. I'll make a motion to close the hearing on this application.
I'll second it.
Motion made. Any staff comments, any additional staff comments besides what you've got written in here?
No further staff comments.
We have a motion made and seconded. I also forgot to mention, are there any comments in favor of the application from the audience? Any comments in opposition to the application? Okay, we always ask for comments in favor and comments in opposition. If there are none, then we have a motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, application ZBA 2024-15, 688 Beckley Road, map 17-1, block 132, lot 11B. Judith Gallo is requesting a variance for a lot size of 3.83 acres for a lot line revision when 10 acres is required for a lot in the OT zone per Berlin zoning regulation 7H. Speaking for the application.
It's a fun history lesson.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, My name is Judy Gallo, and I'm requesting a variance on my 672 Beckley Road property. I am the owner of 672 and 688 Beckley Road and the 4 acres that go with the 688. When the Route 9 connector corridor was being built, the state bought approximately 15 acres of our property. This event caused my property to be divided into 2 separate parcels, one on each side of Route 9. Approximately 15 acres on one side, which I later sold to the Berlin Land Trust, and approximately 4 acres on the other that's goes with the 688 home. As a result of this division, my property, the land on both sides of Route 9 became landlocked. The highway is about 150 yards from the site of my house. The history of 672 Beckley Road is that my grandfather sold or gave my parents the property to build on. For 46 plus years, between my parents and myself, we have maintained the north side of the property as part of the 672 lot. Recently, we decided to have the 672 property surveyed because sometime later, at a later date, we will convey the 672 property to our son. Because the driveway is so narrow and the turnaround so short to be practical, it takes a long turn to get it into our driveway, which is our garage, which is underneath the house, needing us to drive on the grass. When the survey came back, we were shocked to see that our entire side yard, along with a berm, mature trees, a stone wall, and our turnaround were not part of the lot on 672. I gave Polly some pictures. I don't know if he showed you. Since both properties are mine, excuse me, I went to the zoning board with a revised plot planned by Flynn and Sear. The plan would allow us to extend the frontage 10 feet on the south side to allow us to be able to mow behind an existing stone wall, and 40 feet to the north side so as to keep the side yard and the existing structures that are in place and to make the improvements to the driveway. After the survey, which I have here.
Here we got it. Thank you.
Excuse me. After the survey, it showed this lot now measure a lot size of 150 feet by 150 feet instead of the existing 100 by 150. When I arrived at the zoning board and showed them the revised plan, I was promptly told that I couldn't make those changes because about 10 years ago, the property, without my knowledge and the benefit of due process, was changed and bootstrapped to an adjoining property that was zoned OT. My property was now OT. This change, unbeknown to me, set a whole new set of zoning laws into motion. I was told that because of the zone change, I would need 10 acres in order to get a variance. But that meant that those changes would make my non-conforming lot more non-conforming, which was kind of a confusing statement to me. There it was. This new revelation caused me a great deal of stress, confusion, and frustration. I looked up my field cards and my taxes, and they both stated the houses were residential. So then I got a copy of the map in the zoning office, which is this. I don't know where to put it. And the first thing I noticed was every house on both sides of me and across the street from me to Berlin Street is owned residential. The second thing I noticed on the map, that there were 2 houses, one house south of me, that were bordered on 2 sides of their houses by the same OT property that bordered my one side of my property that had been bootstrapped. They are zoned residential. I was never made aware of this seemingly indiscriminate zone change by letter or by deed or by mouth to my property. Coincidentally, I was told that I had to notify and make my neighbors aware of my plans for variance that got the benefit of knowing of an impending change that I never got. It is important to note that my property has no effect on any other neighbor's property, as the north side is bordered by Route 9 and the south side is bordered by the home I own, which is 688. This situation has caused me undue distress because of the seemingly randomness and lack of transparency in the rezoning of my property. Therefore, because of all the above mentioned reasons, I am requesting a variance as noted on the revised plot plan and in keeping with the integrity of the property. And that's it. Thank you. I think there were pictures that I took that I think that of the property and where the stakes were.
My packet.
And it's-
I said, there's nothing in my
I
packet.
put it up here. She gave it to us after we.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's hard to see. To go over there and point to where the stakes are? I'd be happy to do that.
It's over there.
Can circle it here. Kind of
yeah,
see the pin marks
because
around them.
it's so that's our berm. It goes 3/4 around the backyard. And on the other side is the little stone wall that borders 688 and 672 that we want to get a lawnmower around. And then there's the white, that's the driveway. You can see that it's within a foot of the driveway. Then there's one more, oh, see that line that's in the driveway?
Sure.
So that's the property line.
Mhm.
So I have nothing beyond that. I wanted to put in a new driveway and extend the tournament, because as it stands now, we have to go up on the lawn and go around to get under the house where the garage.
We couldn't find anything where this was zoned industrial versus residential.
Oh, so it's actually weird. We looked back at, or tried to at least, with some of the old mappings. And mostly this whole area was all farmland. I'm not sure the zoning was different. It wasn't residential at all. Well, either someone did subdivisions across the street and made residential, or they had some houses and then there was something that went out saying, hey, we're gonna zone this. When they rezone, I think they do send people something. They want to kind of go against it. And it looks like some people may have gotten notice and some others might have not. I don't know.
Well, the whole purpose of this variance is to get her a new driveway so she can get into the garage comfortably
Yeah.
and have a side yard, but
Mhm.
you know,
Because I have structures there, I have a stone.
we're not making a lot out of it. We're not doing anything like that. We're just, you know, providing more space for,
Yeah, for this.
you know.
It's crazy that her house is in a zone that needs 10 acres. That's.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's fairgrounds, if that's Beckley
Four
right in.
ten, 4:30.
Oh, okay, so she's.
It's not,
closer
she's
to
way,
here.
yeah, she's way down
Okay.
the other way.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the rezoning option would be E and Z, and that's a whole
4:30
crazy
is-
process, because I know they want to maintain some of the
Oh, okay.
industrial areas and.
Would be the south
That's
side.
ridiculous. It's 2 residential homes or 3.
Mhm.
I didn't know.
Well, the one right
Oh,
adjacent to the 688 is residential, so.
Yep, here it is.
Okay,
Anyway,
all right, thank you.
Thanks for your time and
I don't know if there's anybody has any more questions.
Yeah, I missed the comment about, like what would it take to rezone it properly is to go to Planning and Zoning Commission?
That's correct.
Well, that was my
And-
second caveat, but I thought I couldn't bring any new news in. But I had, was it, say, may I take your time? I was going to say that, as a caveat, that, although I am here for the variance, ideally, I would like your consideration in taking off the OT designation on my properties, making them in line with all the surrounding properties and as reflected on my field card and my tax obligations. Also, I fear that it would be difficult to sell a house with an OT distinction and description. Because people would
So
always
I
wonder
I don't
what's
think
gonna
that
go there.
that's not our purview. My question was only that, really to either the applicant or and or to Paulie, like if she has to go to planning and zoning, I mean, that would be the real way to correct it. But in the interim, we're being asked to just approve the variance or the continuation of the non-conforming status if the variance is granted?
Yeah, so we're just asking, because, I mean, the lot's already undersized at 4 acres. We're just she's asking for a variance to allow it at, 0.13. Subtract the 0.13 acres from it to add to this lot as a lot line revision.
I got it.
Yeah, so we're just not allowed because it's in the LT zone with that 10 acre minimum. Otherwise, we'll do it as a staff review, and when anyone comes in for residential, we'll just, if it complies with zoning, we can sign off, no problem.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, if the variance is granted, okay, can the next step be to go back to planning and zoning and get this converted to
Residential.
R43 zone?
I mean, if they desire to bring that forward, they can do that.
Yes, I would like to.
I'm just unsure of the certainty that'll happen, because I know they want to maintain, that's part of the conservation plan,
Yeah, but we don't want to drive the
maintain.
person nuts.
I don't think it was clearly intended to be industrial.
Yeah.
I think it was a mistake somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really?
Especially since that's the only area that's industrial.
Well, it's weird, because the lot right next
kidding?
door, right
Yeah.
behind the church, they have about, they have a few, 15 acres, maybe 20 acres, I think.
Behind the church?
The lot next to you. One
Next,
behind.
I'm not sure of how many acres, but.
That was a vacant
houses
space.
That are abutting that OT are zoned residential. And there are 2 sides, 3 sides, as you can see on here. These houses have all these sides on the OT. And I'm just this little dot here. And they bootstrapped me to this little bit of property that's under 4 acres, they bootstrapped to this property. For whatever reason.
Yeah, it's really unusable too. It's a little.
It is unusual, but the reason why it's shaped the way it is because Route 9 came down
Mm.
and went at an angle and basically destroyed my environment. To be honest, we had all that acreage and as it stands, it was all landlocked. So I did talk to Mr. Kearns. He had showed an interest in the property on the other side, so I did sell it to the Berlin Land Trust so that it would be kept the
Mm.
way it is. But I would like to, the land that goes with 688, I would like it to be residential like everybody around me. As you can see from this map, every house, even across the street from me, and even beyond Route 9, is residential. I'm the only one that is not, even though my field card and my taxes are told I'm residential, and they told me that the houses are residential, but they're not. According to this map, they're not.
It's
You can see here from the Google Maps, the GIS isn't working, but she has the 2 houses here, 672, then 678,
Right, 688.
688.
688, yep. Then there's a house right here, but for some reason between this, surrounding this house is all OT.
Hmm.
There's a separate lot back here that's vacant, that's OT.
That
Then
makes more sense.
land with the church as well is OT.
Even the churches in front of the church parking lot, they're still residential. even
Mhm.
though they
The
abut-
house is here, that's correct, and across the street, but they're 2 separate zones too. It's pretty odd, in my opinion. We just couldn't figure out what happened way in the past, but she has the option to.
It's not gonna make any. It'll just put everything else in line. It's not gonna do anything, tax wise, it's not gonna do anything.
No, because it's still
for
being
them, but-
assessed as residential right now.
Yeah, so,
Commercial use,
but it'll just put everything else in line. So if they ever wanna sell it,
Exactly,
Yeah,
or if
but
you
it-
ever want to do another,
Still gonna have a variance. She needs to get it done through planning and zoning, like they said, not just
Mhm.
us. This is nothing.
I mean, the variance might be an odd, well, if you do the rezoning, then it kind of like surpasses all the variance needs because it's no longer OT at that point.
Well, I think we're going ahead of what we should be doing. She should be
Yeah.
doing the zone planning and zoning and then to us if there's an issue.
We're good.
I'm good with it. Thank you, Judy. Any more questions?
Appreciate it.
Any more questions for Mr. Gallo? Any comments in favor of the application? Any comments in opposition to the application? Any additional staff comments?
No further comments from staff.
So
Okay.
what you're saying is that this should be at zoning first before it
My
even comes
belief.
to us.
I mean, they want to do the lot line revision now, and that's why she's applying for the variance. And the PZ process
But
might be
it's
a little longer.
six to one, half a dozen of the other, as
Yeah.
far as that concerned. But if they, if they went through all the whole process
It
of
would
doing
just make
this,
thing a lot, it would make everything a lot cleaner
Exactly.
for her if she ever goes to sell this property, if she got the approval from zoning and changed it back to then going through this.
Mhm.
There's somewhere, somebody's gonna find this zoning. If we do vote to give her the variance, somebody's gonna find it somewhere and cause an issue. You know it, I know it.
I mean, this one's an odd one because it's only asking for the other lot to be smaller. Which just allows this one to kind of get more non-conforming. 'cause-
but if you go to planning and zoning, can planning and zoning change the lot line?
No, they would just,
They'd have to
Zone it.
change the zone.
Yeah,
You
that's
have to
why
move her
I view
whole
these
property
as,
into that zone.
these are separate actions, and I think that this would help out in the interim. And it probably would have to be done anyway, or once the zoning gets approved, if she went that way, then staff could do the sign off. I think that just to help the landowner, I think that this is the best interim step.
Yeah, that starting to make some sense, because if we go back and go to planning and zoning and they convert it, you still have to go back and,
if they
No,
converted
if they
it,
convert it, there's nothing.
it's just an easy one, but if they say no, she has to come back.
We
here.
don't have to do anything if they convert it.
What if they don't, because they're weird,
Well,
have
that's,
problems?
I think that was kind of, she was informed maybe that that's not their intention with some of the industrial zones.
It's
but
unfortunate.
it's in the middle of a residential zone. Use your common sense, for God's
They
sake.
don't have any over there.
well, I mean, granting a variance in a particular situation like this isn't going to affect anything.
Because if it was
Speak up.
rezoned, the variance is kind of useless in that.
Yeah, yeah, if it was rezoned, the variance would be useless anyway, so. Okay, all right. Any further discussion? Did we close the hearing on this? I don't
I'll
think.
make a motion to close the hearing on the application.
I'll second it.
A motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, thank you. Okay, next application, ZBA 2024-16, 412 Tollgate Road, map 21-3, block 74, lot 20D4. Christopher Harima is requesting a variance for a front yard setback of 32 feet for a garage addition when 40 feet is required for all structures per Berlin zoning regulations 5810 in the R21 zone. And speaking for the application, you must be Christopher.
Sure.
Okay,
Good evening, my name is Chris Harima. I'm seeking a front setback variance in order to build a much needed garage on my property at 412 Tollgate Road. My house was built long before setback requirements were established, and you'll see, looking at an overview, nearly 75% of my house is within the established setback. Looking at the property, you'll see that Tollgate Road curves around my house. Proposed garage location is at the end of the existing driveway. Garage entry door will open up to the existing brick path that leads to the side porch of the house, which for us is our main door. There'll be no attachment to the house at the lower level. Setback at that northeast corner of the garage would be 40 feet. Unfortunately, as Tollgate Road curves around my property, the setback does as well. On the southeast corner of the garage, we're left with 32 feet. I tried turning the garage so that the southeast corner could fit inside the setback, but two things happen. One, the corner of the garage ends up close to the back corner of the house and the deck staircase. Two, from the bay window on the driveway side of the house, you would be looking at the corner of the garage and only see the side of the garage, as the garage would be turned away from you. Normally, you would see the front of the garage when all things are parallel. It would look very strange for the garage to face away from the main house, and it would detract from the home's appearance. I also tried moving the garage entirely back 8 feet, but more problems exist. First, the side garage entry door would open right to the basement bulkhead doors. You would have to exit the garage, immediately turn right, walk straight, turn left into the porch, and then turn left again into the house, which clearly is not very ideal. Second, the deck stairway would lead directly into the garage wall. Third, the view from the deck would consist of the side of the garage instead of the backyard, again, detracting from the home's appearance. The fourth major issue, this is the second story. Our expanding family with another child due in March needs desperately extra storage and a bonus room. My basement is not realistic in terms of usable space beyond mechanicals. Second story of the garage would be very functional for my family as a bonus room with storage. It would have access only to the second story of the main house through a hallway bridge. Position of the bridge would be on top of the brick path between the garage and the house, also providing cover from the elements when entering and leaving the garage on the ground level. Floor plan for the second floor shows the location and connection to the existing house at the back hallway. It is located where the middle window is now and cannot be placed any further back, or the bridge would connect to the third bedroom, which is not functional at all. I've explored all options with trying to move the garage further back beyond the setback, but each option comes up short or would drastically involve reconfiguring the rear of the main house on both levels and possibly the rear deck as well. I want to preserve as much of the original structure as possible, and this variance would allow limited construction to the house. In conclusion, I think the 32-foot setback request is very reasonable considering the location of the house primarily inside the front setback right now. I have support letters from 4 neighbors surrounding me, including Tom and Laura directly behind me at 1684 Orchard, John and Kate directly adjacent to me at 1702 Orchard, John Pentelow, who's directly adjacent to me and nearest the proposed garage at 422 Tollgate, and Adam and Michelle at 432 Tollgate Road. I don't know if you need copies of those letters. I can give you them if you need them. And I will entertain any questions you have. And if you need more images, I do have.
Is the neighbor at 422 Tollgate Road on one of the letters?
Yes, he is. John.
Okay.
There's a few images. Well, aerial shot. It kind of shows how the road curves. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
I have it up on Google Maps as well on the screen.
Oh.
You have no plans of making that into any type of, your bonus room into any type of rentable
No,
mother-in-law home or anything like that, right?
nope, not at all. I just want electrical. I want it to be insulated, but I have no plans to heat it. I don't have central air and I'm fine without central air. I don't want more square footage to heat. But I would love the space.
You're building a garage that's bigger than most small houses in town.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big one.
We
Looks
want
good.
to do it right, right?
Yeah, man, if I did that, I'd do the same thing. Well, I for one, Chris, appreciate you actually going through the motions of trying to do all the other options to conform. And so I appreciate you reporting on that. I guess that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to make it smaller, but even if you do, I mean, I have 3 cars between my wife and I, 2 kids, well, one on the way. They'll be both driving EVs by the time they're driving, and, everyone's gonna be wanting to park in a garage and plugging in their cars. So planning ahead, you know, I just know I won't be happy with a two-car garage. So I really want a three-car garage. That's, if I'm gonna go through the effort in building the garage, that's what I would love. But even a two-car garage at 24 feet, an average width of a two-car garage, I'm still looking at a 5-foot setback. So I don't think, the 32 is asking for too much considering the location of my house.
Mhm.
Luckily, all my neighbors have been fully supportive.
How long have you been on Tollgate?
10.
Probably a tough spot too. That's annoying with people going way too fast right next to your front door.
Yeah, it's a very fast road. It's a 25, but I'll tell you, seems like people do 60 plus on that road sometimes. Yeah.
Even the guys from Lombardo Motor Cars right on the other side of the tollgate.
Yeah,
I think the Berlin Turnpike's too close, so they get off the Berlin Turnpike and they're not slowing down till they get to their side street. Fortunate, but
any additional questions?
I have none.
Thank you.
thanks for your time.
Any comments in favor of the application? Any comments in opposition? Staff comments?
The only comments, pretty much have been addressed, and I, or in the staff comments, something we worry about is we're trying to add the addition of a second unit. So the applicant here is not proposing any plumbing, boxing out room space. It's pretty much just a big open room, electrical, and there's no access from the driveway. And breezeway meets our standards, the size for it to be considered an attached garage, so.
Okay. I'll make a motion to close the hearing on this application.
Second.
A motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Aye. Okay, that's closed. Next application. ZBA 2024-17, 658 Berlin Turnpike. Map 10-4, block 83C, lot 52. John Gomez, Car Guys Automotive LLC is requesting a variance for a side yard setback of 10 feet where 50 feet is required when abutting a residential district per Berlin zoning regulation 6J4 in a BT1 zone. Property is owned by Cisaltina Viverios. Speaking for the application.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board. I'm John Gomez, representing Car Guys Automotive, 658 Berlin Turnpike. I'm asking for a variance for more allotted spaces for sales. In 2002, there was an approval granted to conduct motor vehicle repairs and sales. During that time, that business was primarily repairs. So they only asked for 4 spots for allotted sales. My business is primarily sales. We do a very, very small percent of business for repairs. Primarily, we're just repairing our cars that we're selling. Again, we do a very, very small percentage for outside repairs. We have a great relationship with the neighbor. There's a good amount of space in between there, and it's a lot of trees and which offers privacy, a good amount of separation for the property, that's connected to us.
I remember your application. And I also remember telling you about parking and cars sale of cars on that property and how small that area is to put cars on that property. I've also traveled by that property several times and seen a few cars that were extremely close to the highway. We warned you about that when you were here. So I don't know what your plans are, how many more cars you want to get on the property. But you still have to, with the 4 bays, you still have to have a minimum amount of parking for customers, whether you have no customers coming into the bays or not. They have to be there. And that property does not lend to that many more parking spaces. From what I see of the size of it. Do you have anything different, Paul?
Well, parking for these would be, I mean, P and Z has the authority to kind of say whether or not they can have more or less parking. But they are required to have three parking spaces for each bay.
And there's
It's like-
12 parking spaces right there,
You need 12 already. They're not.
plus employees.
So as far as the employees, we have 3 employees.
Okay, so
It's myself, one salesman, and a mechanic, which we operate those same vehicles on the 3 dealer plates that I have. So we're not bringing in our personal registered vehicles to park there during working hours. We're operating the vehicles that we sell under a dealer plate. So there's just 3.
oh, okay, yeah, I understand that. But you're still, the required amount of parking places still have to be counted with them 3
Mhm.
spaces, whether you're using them as an employee parking.
You have to account for the square footage of the retail use as well.
And then you have that,
Tinting.
Sun
Sun
something.
Glory.
Sun Glory, Sun Glory.
How many parking spaces does he have?
Well, he's just one employee, he's an owner.
Does he have a bay?
He has 1 bay, yes.
Okay, so he needs 3 parking spaces for that. So now we're up to 15 parking spots. That's a postage stamp lot. That's not a big lot.
Even though, I still have to have those amount of allotted spaces for those bays, even though
Because you are a licensed repairer or dealer, you have to have,
whether we do an outside repair or not.
whether you do it or not.
Then how about the space in that area that I'm proposing for the variance?
How many cars do you want to park on that area in the lot?
Not looking to bring additional cars, I'm looking to be in compliance.
So how many cars, let me rephrase it then. How many cars do you have on the lot right now that are out of compliance?
How many I have total in addition to the 15
Yeah,
already allotted?
well, actually, you need 15 plus, if he's an owner, that's 1 more parking space for him, so that's 16.
Well, I'm the owner. employee.
No, I'm talking about the Sun Glory.
Glory.
He needs 3 plus 1. That's 4.
So I have 4 allotted for sales. So I'm asking for, I think I proposed to
13.
have 13 for sales. Which again, we don't do repairs except for on our own cars.
Okay, let
Except
me,
for on our- I'm asking for spots for sales and 4.
unfortunately, the problem becomes not what you're doing with the property right now, but what can be done with the property if we give you the variance and you decide to get out.
5-year lease, and I'm hoping.
Doesn't matter. That lease doesn't have any relevance to what we're doing here.
Also hoping to purchase the building.
What I'm saying is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Paul.
Mhm.
If we grant a variance for what you're doing right now, and you decide to get out of it, and the next person that comes in wants to get into sales and repairing cars, and let's say the main part of his business is repair, how would that, it could come back and burn us, and it has in the past.
So when this came to us last year, there was that whole fenced area on the side that buffered the residential zone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I remember we were talking about it. Wasn't that supposed to be kept that way?
Well, it's supposed to remove the fence, but then keep vehicles out of that area.
Oh, okay.
That's that 50-foot buffer area. Because they're adjacent to residential.
I guess what I'm asking is how much room do they have on that property for parking? How
I
many
mean, so
lots?
that's where it's, for the auto uses is different than, commercial, industrial thing. They have parking space per square footage. Auto uses, the P and Z, they can determine the number of spaces that they'll allow.
Okay, so you can tell him he can park 30 more cars on that lot?
I mean, if he can fit it and they see it as something that makes sense, but if it doesn't make sense,
Then why is he here?
that's what I mean. So he's here just to get 50-foot residential buffer condensed to 10 feet. There's only 50 feet because he's next to residential rather than next to another BT zone. So even if you approve it or don't approve it, P and Z would have to approve more parking. The first step looks like to come here, but my main question is mostly because you have vehicles there already in that area. What happens to all the vehicles that are in compliance on the front of the property in the state right away? Where do they go? Because they're still in compliance.
It's 25 feet you're supposed to be, right?
Well, there's no parking allowed here at all.
I'm talking about in the state right away, though. He's 25 feet, but there's no.
yeah, but they
he's
had
on the
it-
grass.
They got a variance though way back, some other person to have it condensed a little bit. So it shows it on this map.
I don't remember that, but you could be right.
It's 10 feet at least. They've got a setback. But,
Then he's the only one on the Berlin Turnpike that has that variance.
yeah, for sure.
You're referring to.
Found that on, that
October?
surprises me.
Oh, 10-foot minimum front yard parking setback.
Put it on the screen now.
That's normally 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The parking spaces that he's required to have, did that include handicap? Or do we have to add more for handicap too?
Oh, it's just, you
This
can,
includes handicap?
yeah, that includes handicap.
So that 50-foot minimum, side yard parking setback is here. And you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more spots. Conceivably.
Well, there aren't, no. No, they have none over there. So we have 1, 2, 3.
I mean, this plan shows 13 more spots, but ZBA, they're just asking for that setback to be reduced. As I said, this plan would have to go to P and Z, so they can always change it.
Okay, so they, okay, I understand it.
So all they're asking for is just that reduction of that parking and loading setback
You're asking to take this line over here and bring it over to here.
and bring it back.
Man. Whenever we have residential property, we're abutted to residential property, then buffers are put there for a reason.
Mhm.
We have a great relationship with the neighbor, walks his dog every day through the yard. There is a bunch of trees there and stuff in the middle. I wish I was as prepared as gentlemen over here. I might have been able to get something in writing. We did notify everyone that we were applying for this variance tonight.
Could you repeat that? You notified the next door Willis? Willis is the owner?
Well, I know we had to send a bunch.
They had to send, what, 150 feet, 200 feet?
Area, so
250.
50?
you're not here in opposition of it either.
Yeah, but it's not only, okay, I understand Mr. Willis, I don't know him for who he is, but it's not just Mr. Willis that has anything to say. We're here as zoning for, Board of Appeals, Commission to protect some of the things that we have in place that have been in place for years already. And I wasn't on the board, I don't think, when they approved that. So that has to predate, well, Tony might have been, you're a dinosaur.
Yeah,
2002.
but if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Mm.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Oh.
12, 13, 14.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22, 23, 24.
Still only
And
gives him
8 is 32. Okay, that you, if basically what we're saying is if we grant this, you've got 32 spaces. If you don't grant it, you've got 24.
what he had. What he has now.
No, he's got 24 now.
If we don't grant it, he has what he has now.
Well, yes and no. This is, these 5 are included?
Yeah.
So these 5 are existing. I thought that these were all new, proposed.
Oh, those are all new.
This, proposed.
Yeah, those are all new.
Where do you have? Just the 4 before?
Just the 4, that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's basically gained 3.5.
Well, you
That's
can
nothing.
gain 5 spots, basically. You know, it's pretty close, but you can gain about 5 spots if you kept a 50-foot setback. You gain 5 spots, so you'd be from, you'd have 24, because you'd be -8. Because it says proposed 32. Okay, and then if you look at this, if you, 32 minus 8 is 24, so, basically you got 24. Am I doing that right, or it says 32 spaces, and then it says proposed 30 plus 2 handicap spaces, there's 1 here and 1 here, so total is 32. And if you minus the 8, you're down to 24, which right now he's got 19. So you're adding 5 more, 19 and 5 is 24, basically.
But that still only allows him the addition of that, what were we at 16 or 17 parking that mandatory for his
So 12 for the 3 bays he's got,
another 3,
15 total for the other bay.
and then
altogether.
4 employees counting 1 for the other thing, so that's 19. So
That's the other issue, is that there's cars,
yeah,
like I mentioned on the grass here, having the photos are up.
5 spots right there on the grass.
I also ask for a clarification. So the current pavement area is not proposed to be expanded. But the setback on that existing non-parking plan area is proposed to be moved out toward the neighbor.
you want to take part of that buffer out is what I'm correct.
But that area is currently paved.
That's correct. It looks like a previous owner did it out of compliance.
Out of compliance?
I believe there was some towing company there, right, with Meineke or something that they
Yeah, they
rented
had
out?
the fence was around it so they could charge for protected towing.
Mhm.
I remember that.
I just remember this when it came through Zoom. And if you play back the minutes that play back the recording of that, you're gonna find me saying that land is small, you're only at 4, is this what you want to do?
I remember.
My main question too is the area here right in front. It's not allowed parking at all. How does that solve the problem for these vehicles? Vehicles you have parked out front aren't in parking space.
Oh. In front, like right in front of the office door?
Yeah. Right on the.
The whole front, the whole frontage of the
whole front,
property.
Yeah.
We had them originally, didn't know, we had them on the grass. We didn't know.
Yes, you did.
Then we told that we couldn't put them on the grass. Then we moved them right away onto the concrete that's in front there. If I was allotted those spaces, I'd be able to move those, put them in the space where that buffer is.
You already have vehicles there.
It's not completely full. I'll do some rearranging. Move those from there. Right now I have just 4 spaces allotted for sales. I guess part of it, which it sounds like he knew a lot more than I did.
I know the
I
property
mean, when you
well.
guys came in, we told you to tell us everything you want. Remember your father said, no, we just do the 4. And we said,
He Couldn't
"No, you
wait
wanna
to
do
work
more.
with his
why you
son.
didn't ask for more." I mean, that's what made the problem. You knew you were always gonna have more. We just told you, don't lie to us, just tell us exactly what you want.
Why I should have been more diligent and know, yes, I found out then and I found out even more when the surveyor came in and told me what I had to work with. Which again, how do we make it with just 4 spots allowed for sales?
But
That's
that
what
was
I'm saying,
something,
we-
but that was something we talked
Told you,
about.
yeah, and you guys said, no, we'll do it. That's to me, it was kind of misleading. Did you
Well,
come in and do this anyway? So we're asking,
I
tell us
thought,
exactly your scope, your plan for the business. And then we'll see if it works within the regs and what the P and Z would approve. Instead of saying you'll do 4 and then you immediately go in on compliance. I mean, just man up to it. It's kind of where we're asking. Just be honest about trying to do more than you're leading on to. I mean, honestly, just say, just tell us exactly.
oh, that was a question?
Yeah, just
No,
tell
I thought
exactly,
That was a
just-
statement. I didn't
I
know.
mean, partly a statement, but we're also asking about that front area. So if you can fit all the vehicles here, I don't know if you told us how many you have currently site
How many do I have currently?
For sale.
for sale.
Sale is more than 4.
Well, yeah, I know, but do you know the exact number is what I'm asking?
I don't know the exact number.
Is it more than 32? Or more than 17 now?
Sales? I would say no to that.
Do you have?
Me?
It's probably around
2.
32 though. It's definitely. not-
32 is the total. I meant 17. That's what you're proposing here.
You want to speak?
Yes, I do.
Come on up,
Thank
use a microphone. And you can state your name and,
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Giovanni Gomez. I am also the owner of Car Guys Automotive. This is my son, John. And I was here. We initially came to put in for excuse me if I don't know the proper terms. This is very new to me. I've never been in this line of work. I am a retired law enforcement guy. That's my arena.
you for your
That's where I
service.
excel. Okay? I remember specifically being here. I remember, gentlemen, when New York Giants fan, by the way.
Sorry to
And
hear that.
I remember I sat back there and I know you and I were doing eye contact and I was a little bit, I'm not gonna say upset, but I was a little bit, shaken because I thought that the committee is supposed to help a new business. We're a brand new business and we were looking for guidance and we were looking for help. And I remember, and I know you referred to the minutes, which is, I used to keep minutes on all my meetings. And you said to us, you guys are submitting this plan. This plan only calls for 4 sales spots. And I know you saw me back then, I was a little bit like, how can we do just 4 sales spots? There was a woman here, part of that committee, that said, why don't we give them 8 spots? Because 4 spots just sounds unreasonable. And of course, we're out of our element. We're just trying to start a new business. And you said, if you look at the minutes, you said to us, just grant them the 4 because they'll be back.
Have no choice.
Yes, I know that. And then, but you said to me or to us, you'll be back. Because you said they'll come back and they'll ask for more spots.
I did say you'd be back asking for more spots.
And yeah, I remember that. I'm being told.
There's no doubt.
And I said, okay, I know what he's telling us. He's telling us, do it this way.
No. excuse me. I know what I said. I know what the motor vehicle laws are. I know what the zoning laws are for this property.
Sir, with all due respect, of course, you know a lot more than I know about this.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, the reason we said that, and it wasn't just me.
No, the committee.
We knew it was gonna come back because we know that you can't operate a business selling used cars off that property. Not like you want to do it.
What I am saying, sir, is that my understanding, I sat there and I listened to you intently. And it sounded to me like you know your business and you were saying, this is how it has to be approved, because this is what's allowed. But you guys will come back. And you're gonna be asking, and you also remember you said, as a matter of fact, there's a lot down there now that they're supposed to have, you said like 8 cars and they got 24 cars. To me, that was an inference that, yeah, you know what? We know that you guys are gonna come back.
You don't want to know what's going on with that property right
No,
now.
sir, and I don't wanna bring attention to anybody else's property. What they're doing is their business. So we came and we've been working with the enforcement officer and the zone. We're just trying to run a business.
I understand that. And
I'm a Vietnam era vet. I'm a law enforcement. I try to do things the right way.
this is not what we are not trying to do anything against you.
No,
Okay, by any means, by any part
get
of what
it.
you're saying.
I get that, sir, but
Okay.
we are trying.
But we're required by our zoning to enforce certain
Yes,
things.
sir. I totally understand and I respect
Okay, and
your
that
position and what
property-
you're doing.
That property has been a question mark since it became an auto repair shop after Oliski moved out of it when he had this construction business there.
And like, obviously, you know a lot more about that property. As I said, I'm out of my element because this is not what I did for a living. This is something new that me and my son, we envision having a little dealership and running a small business.
Well,
I want to do it right. We do want to do it right. We just want your help to show us how to do it right, how to be in compliance. I know everything about compliance. I ran 3 prisons in Connecticut. If I know about compliance, administrative directives, policies and procedures, I'm well versed on that. I don't know about this, but I do want to be in compliance and I want the committee and the town to help us. We want to run a good business, a solid business, a reputable business. And we just.
that's why we're trying to figure out what we can do to make that happen
And
without encroaching on that
absolutely,
that
right, and I.
buffer
understand
that was put there to protect the
Yes, sir, and I understand.
private property.
And I understand your position, I understand the chairman's position, the committee, I get it. But I'm just hoping.
I got a question for you before you go. Do you guys own the property or are you guys just leasing it right now?
No, sir, we leased the
Leasing.
property for 5 years. And honestly, like I said,
You have an authorization from the owner, right?
yes, we did everything like, and I mean, it was like baby steps because we were really new at this.
All right, so not to
So we
interrupt,
did,
but
we did lease it for 5 years. When we leased it, the person who leased the property told us you can put cars over here, you can put cars. What do we know? We were just trusting that people were telling us the right thing, and that's what we were trying to do. We intend to purchase the property. That is our long-term goal, is to purchase the property and hopefully build a business.
all right, so my question is, when you guys were here in September and when he said, and we're just going by the law, we're going by what DMV
Absolutely.
says with everything.
I get it, yeah.
And he said, it's 4. And you guys didn't own the property, you guys were leasing. And knowing what's available out there for lease, you know, for what I do in business, that you didn't have to lease that little corner. There would have been 20 other spots that you guys could have had that, like, holy crap, there's an acre of parking here, rather than this little corner shared with a tint place that's got more grass than pavement. That, again, what Lenny was saying in regards to following the DMV rules.
It's not just DMV, it's
not-
our zoning,
Right,
our
yes.
ordinances. And that buffer, that 50-foot buffer was put there on that property because of this.
And
Well,
that
just
goes for,
the regs, it's for any property that abuts residential in BT1. just this property.
No, I'm not saying,
Oh, okay.
I meant that's what the ordinance, the regulations require that.
I think we'd be setting a precedent if we start changing buffers. We haven't changed buffers in anything, in any requests that we've gotten for changing buffers. I don't think we've ever gotten one that I know of in 26 years.
Not that
you know,
I'm 20 and I don't remember.
That's what I'm,
Yeah, not
that's what I'm
commercial and
concerned about.
residential. Yeah, I've
You
been,
know, that's why I says, well, you know, they can't have the 13, but maybe they can squeeze 5 in there. I mean, I'm trying to help them out. But if we go back and change the buffer, we'll be setting a precedent, and we'll have a whole army of people coming in here saying, well, I want my buffer changed too.
And it's
And
it's
I think
nothing
that's
against
what
you
it
guys
is.
trying to have a business in town, because
That's what he's-
everybody wants you guys to have a business in town. We want everyone to have a business in town because it just helps the town.
Absolutely.
But if Mr. Willis sells his house and Joe Smith buys it, you know, and it's like, well, why can I
This
see
is
a
why
car
I,
right next to our house? Like, aren't there supposed to be zoning regulations for residentials and commercial? So it has nothing to do with you guys and you guys trying to run a business. Listen, we all want everyone to have a successful business in town, but it's also protecting the residents, you know, to have a buffer. And you know, what Tony just said about, you know, does it have to be that amount of footage for a buffer, or?
let me ask you something, Paul. What if they shut down 2 bays?
It takes away those 6 spaces. I don't know if you.
Now they're only, what, 2 spaces away?
Lenny, how would you shut down 2 bays? Like take the lift out of it or something? Or
No, all you have to do, all you're required to do is take the doors out.
so you have to put a fixed
You'd have to, I don't know the configuration inside
Close
the
it
building,
without the bay
or
door.
how many bays, how many lifts they have in there, but
I don't know if that's your intention.
I'm just throwing it out there.
We're just looking for guidance, however you can help us and however we can be in compliance. That is 100% our intent, is to be in compliance and to be able to.
I see that, I
Some volume,
understand that.
I know you know the automobile business, and you know, volume equals more sales, you know? So essentially, we won't be able to survive with 4 cars.
Lombardo Motor Cars, that they don't do volume.
Well, Lombardo does specialty.
But he knows what I'm saying.
I understand that.
Actually, I believe quality makes more sales myself.
Yes,
That's me.
right. And we're trying to provide a good used quality vehicle to our customers. And so far, we haven't had any complaints. We have a good rating on our site. And we've been responsible for all our sales and everything that we do.
So Paul, where do we go from here?
I mean, you still suggest the area back here where the dumpsters at, is that hill terrain? I remember,
No,
right behind some. Put it up.
I think that would have, does that go through, would have to go through us, or?
I mean, changing the site plan would be P and Z, but they're just here for the buffer, but, they're saying the intention of that buffer is blanket all around BT zone is to have that space separated from any residential uses. Because they have
I remember,
other houses.
right, no, I understand that. I've been in my house 25 years and
I remember at other end of that zone there with the movie theater when we had that. Remember that
Yeah.
mess?
Was that Shaler or?
One of the owners, I guess, removed some of the buffer between, and it created I can't remember all the details, but this was probably when I first became on the zone, on the board.
I'm asking about,
But I don't think we've ever changed buffers.
Yeah, is there a current variance on that paved area that is in the buffer?
oh, the variance was from the state easement right away in front. Have that set back a little bit.
That was from the state.
No,
From the
but-
town, I think they got a
But in the
10,
place that is currently being used for like storage or probably parking.
oh, there's
anyway.
no variance there.
So, I mean, they're basically in violation of the buffer even, I mean, just from the prior occupant of the property.
That's correct. But what I'm asking is the area here behind the dumpster, are you unable to do something there with pavement and add spaces? Well, that's all the slopes down now.
Yeah, there's a little slope behind where the dumpster is, yeah, yeah.
That's what we're saying mostly, and that's what we mean when we came in. I apologize for saying man up. That's probably an inappropriate comment. But, what we were telling you, and I told you when you came in the office, say what you want. Say you want a helicopter here if you have to. And then we can work with what's in our regs. You just tell us the full scope of what you want to do. You mentioned here, we told you, you said, I'll do just the 4. Knowing, that's saying, we're telling you, say you know that you want to do more. Like you said, you can't run a business, sales, low inventory, because no one's people are gonna say what's happening there.
Right.
So that's where Lenny's co-chair is telling you that. Kind of knew the site was small and you knew you want to do more. You had the map showing these kind of buffers, so it's, how can we kind of work in the area you have now? And that's something the surveyor can work with it, and like I said, P and Z can determine more spaces. You're here for variance for that side yard, that back. If you want to propose a separate plan that might add more spaces that maybe P and Z can review, that's another story then.
That might be the best route. to
Can
go.
we table this?
What's that?
Can we table this and have them come back?
You can if you want to, yeah. Would you
It
actually,
might give them the opportunity to find out more information about
other options or?
what other options they have.
Yeah,
Rather than deny it and they have to wait, what, 6 months or a year before they can come back and try anything again?
Or if it's just the same exact application. It's only if it's denied with prejudice.
Okay,
Why don't we table it and get more information on it?
well, and then also they can just kind of relook at everything and see what can actually work.
yeah, and they can maybe find out about the bays and how they could reconform them to.
Because the last thing we want to do is stop you guys from doing business. We're not here
Don't
to
wanna do
do
that.
anything like that. We're just here to enforce the rules and just,
If that wasn't a buffer there, we probably wouldn't be talking right now. The buffer is what's got,
I get it.
Not
I
me.
get it, but I think there was a little bit of maybe confusion on our part because that area was fenced off and
but it was it wasn't supposed to be
Right,
there.
and
We knew
then-
that.
and then we thought once you took the fence down, we could submit a request to use that area to add a few more vehicles. And that was our thought, and it just made sense to us because we saw this big.
I could
that's
understand.
paved, and we were
That's
like,
actually
okay.
true. You have.
I
you
can
actually
understand
have
that.
Shown to fit
Oh, yeah,
5 more
I can understand
spaces
that.
in the
Because-
area.
The people that were there already, they took down that part of that buffer.
Yeah, they took that down
And
I'm not even sure when that was.
realistically, the
several
owner of
years,
that property could be forced to put it back up.
many years ago.
That's been, I want to say 8 to 10 years ago, that fence was put up.
Easily, yeah.
The towing company must have used that to store vehicles because we
They
saw
can charge
signs
more,
on
they
the
can charge
fence.
more.
Yeah, and there were signs on the fence that were saying, J&M towing, keep out of this area and all kinds of stuff. So we knew there was
I
storing.
don't know how they were doing towing on that property. They didn't have a license.
So, and we just want to do it right and we want you to help us to do it right.
Well,
But we can't
Paul-
exist with 4 cars.
Paul can definitely help,
Never make it.
hopefully with the right questions and, I mean,
Maybe you can investigate the base, see if we can get rid of the base.
I mean, that's up to you and the owner.
We didn't even think about that. You gave us something new to think about, to be honest.
it would be up, it's entirely up to you whether it's even feasible to do it.
I mean, they could do it. It's just, like I said, it would just be, if that makes sense, cost wise.
It's not feasible.
operating these 4 car sales, how are we gonna shut down 2 garages?
Like I said, I don't know the layout, whether you can drive in one bay and get into 3 different lifts on it or not. That's,
That's what he's saying, kind of like moving around inside.
I don't know.
I don't know if we can do that, to be honest.
I don't know.
But I
I've never been in there.
No.
Last time I was in there was a construction shop.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I hear you.
30 years plus years ago.
A flat area, we cannot use, that's a buffer.
Part of it.
Well,
But I think-
let's
I
put it
think we
this way.
enforced it before.
It's supposed to be a buffer.
Sure.
Okay, and now it's up to how do we enforce it with the owner of the property? That becomes
Mhm. And we've already sent them a
on your
notice,
plate.
notice of violation already, so.
So, see, he's already sent them a notice of violation for that thing to be there.
Well, they've got a copy.
Yeah,
He sent it to us, I've got a copy.
Well, it's the owner of the property is ultimately,
we don't want,
since you lease it.
we don't want to get the owner in trouble either. We just,
Well, you're not,
No, you're not.
You're not.
That's
It's-
not what-
We knew it
that's
was,
not our intentions at all.
no. They knew about it. They knew about it before then.
I get it, if I was trying to rent it to a car guy, to me, and I guess it's between me and him, to be quite honest, he said, you have no problems. It's been an existing business for 20 some odd years. Heineke was here.
He said his dad and him had a dealership there and
The
they
guy
had
from the
cars
tint shop
parked.
told me before I got there, which is pretty frustrating.
We didn't get all the
There'd be
information.
cars all over the front lawn.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I get there, the town is saying, you gotta get your cars off the front lawn.
He went as far as to show us there's some
I
plates.
spent $800
On
on
the
sign.
lawn.
They told me you gotta take your
If-
flags down.
If you look next time, you'll see there's plates on the lawn. And the owner says, you see where all these plates are? Say, what are those for? He goes, you can park all your cars on the lawn as long as you're on this side of
There's
the
like a
plate.
brick, some bricks.
So we were like, oh, okay, that'll work for us. I mean, we did think about leasing this place. We just didn't go there and say, here's the money. We thought we could operate with more cars than 4 cars. I mean, who would lease a place thinking that they're gonna run a sales, auto sales business and know that you can only use 4 cars?
That's why I questioned it so emphatically.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, you knew a lot more than we knew, and obviously, I mean, you knew about the property from long ago. But when I sat back there and I heard you do your little, when you were talking to us.
Did I?
And you said you were, in the board and talking, then you guys were talking about it and you were saying they'll be back. They'll ask for more than 4. Let's approve it the way it's supposed to be.
No, I would not, I can never, I would never, first of all, I would never say, let's approve it the way we're supposed, that's not what we do. That's not something, we can't even tell each other what we're doing here. We can't even,
But what I.
we would have never, I would have never said that.
We never said that.
Not your words
I
exactly.
would have said I was saying you coming back. I knew you'd come back because I knew you didn't have the,
You just said they'll be back and I was saying only 4 cars. I think what you were telling us is this is the
Well,
plan that you're submitting. This can be approved.
I'm
only-
sorry you misunderstood my intent. My intent was to bear warning at what you were doing is what I was
Well,
trying to get across. So.
Right.
Anyway, we can stay doing this all night.
we could table this and,
I think,
just get,
we can
get
deny
into
without
more,
prejudice.
get
too,
more information.
or Anything.
Pardon me?
What if we deny without prejudice?
I'm thinking just table it and ask them to get more information on
That's
it.
fine. Right.
Ask the staff to get more information or, look at other alternatives. Maybe you can't, maybe you can't grant that whole buffer. If you can't do that, what can you do in place of, the buffer? If you encroach the buffer by 10 feet, who are you gonna slap on the
Since
hand?
they have that, how close is the grass to that property? I mean, there's nothing that says it has to be paved to display a car.
I think you have to have paved spaces or at least gravel or something. Can't have it in a landscaped area. P&Z will never approve that.
So they won't approve anything that's in the front lawn.
That's correct, yeah. I mean, but they could if they propose
They
something.
could pave it.
But they have that 10-foot parking setback anyway. And that goes.
Yeah, well, but still that 10 foot would give them a lot more room than what they have now.
That's a plus.
No, I mean, that's the area in front of the building where they,
Where they
Shouldn't
have
be-
cars now, where they
Yeah.
shouldn't be, yeah.
it's almost up to the door.
There's been a couple of those granted in the past.
I think if you do like the parallel parking stuff to. Well, no, that whole area here is just meant to be a passageway. It shows on the plan, yeah.
But
Here.
the 10-foot setback, we've granted 10-foot setbacks before.
No, they already have that.
I know, but there are other locations that have a 10-foot setback. There are no locations that have a variance on the buffer.
We have
Oh,
not,
it's buffer, you're saying, yeah.
we have not done a state buffer under 25 feet since I've been on this board.
I think we have.
Absolutely not.
Coming up,
Drive,
That's actually the.
Drive tried to do it in Berlin Auto.
Is that the
Sales
only
tried to
one?
Do it and they
It's the only
stopped.
one on the property, yeah.
I thought there was another one down the other end.
Oh, there might be more, I just mean. on
Well,
that.
International does.
Yeah,
He's right on the road. But he's paved right up the road.
What's that?
International.
That's the
Next
one
to
with
Pep
the-
Boys.
oh, yeah, okay.
Make a motion to close the hearing on the application.
Close or continue or
Oh,
decision
continue,
or
we gotta
what?
continue here. I'll make a motion to continue the application.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
What I,
Thank you, guys.
and Paul will help you, I hope, and Maureen. And if we can, look over the way you might want to be able to do things and come up with a viable plan without encroaching on that buffer. Because that's gonna be I think the issue, the biggest issue we're fighting is that buffer. And unfortunately, that's where you have to go. That's where your land allows you to move. But you could get, like Tony said, you can get 5 more parking spaces just without even that there. So it's a start. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it could be a start.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Gonna go into,
This is gonna be continued. This is not over.
this is continued, yeah.
This is continued, okay?
Gonna go into old business. ZBA 2024-1230 Robbins Road has been postponed till October. ZBA 2024-14 164 New Britain Road, map 33, block 24A, lot 38. Pranav Kumar Patel. Anjani Putra. 164 LLC is requesting a sales of alcoholic beverage. What does that mean? Anjani Putra, is that a name?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Is requesting a sales of alcoholic
LLC.
beverages. Location approval per Berlin zoning regulations 11B for a grocery beer liquor permit for Friendly Mart at property owned by Pankaj Kumar in the CD1 zone. I'll make a motion to approve this application.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's been there as many years as I can remember that place selling.
72.
I missed the 7-Eleven Slurpees though.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that's unanimous. ZBA 2024-15 688 Beckley Road, map 17-1, block 132, lot 11B. Judith Gale is requesting a variance for a lot size of 3.83 acres for a lot line revision when 10 acres is required for a lot in the office technology zone for Berlin zoning regulation 7H.
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Dane?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, that's
Did I say it?
unanimous.
Yeah, I heard you say it. He said it.
Oh, you did, okay. ZBA, I wasn't sure if he's, ZBA 2024-16 412 Tollgate Road, map 21-3, block 74, lot 20D4. Christopher Harima is requesting a variance for a front yard setback of 32 feet for a garage addition when 40 feet is required for all structures per Berlin zoning regulations 5810 in an R21 zone. Do I have a motion to approve this application?
I'll make that motion to approve the application.
I'll second it.
I have a motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and ZBA 2024-17, 658 Berlin Turnpike, map 10-4, block 83C, lot 52. This application is
Tabled and
tabled until
continued,
the October meeting.
postponed.
October 22nd.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that you probably maybe they'll maybe
Not gonna
be
be-
able to do a little bit more due diligence
Yeah,
on
after I
it,
get
maybe
back.
talk with planning and zoning and
Mhm.
find out what else we can get as far as information on it. So we can improve, increase the number of sales spots for these folks. All set. Approval of minutes, the July 23rd minutes. Does anybody have any issues with the July 23rd minutes?
I looked at, I was good with them. I think there's three of us here, so I think we can do them. Me, you, and
I'll make a motion to
Corey.
approve the July minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Okay,
sorry, you too.
there he is. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, yeah. Jesus, 8:30. That was a long discussion.
Good discussion though, but.